So welcome everyone. We'll start. So I thought today some of us may be aware of it. So mother asked Sunilda to make some music, and the music is really beautiful. And mother said that it uplifts the consciousness, Sunilda's music. And people also call, I have seen written, Sunil Bhattacharya, mother's musician. So, and there are several compositions where he has composed the music, and there are mantras in the background chanted by either his sister Minidi or at times somebody else. And also, mother has taken up a few lines of Savitri, and mother's voice is also at times in the composition. So there are, one can find it on YouTube also. If you type mantras in with Sunil Das music, you will find a whole playlist which is very, very beautiful, very good for concentration if whenever one wants to sit, and it always takes you somewhere up, and I remember that the first time I heard such kind of music, I could not resonate with it because it feels that when we are totally lost in that chitter chatter mind, somehow it is hard to then relate with that music. And if we are a little bit still and there is an aspiration to go upwards then and deeper, then this music is really, really very helpful. So today we'll listen to this music and meditate on it for some time. And there are paintings by Huta Didi which are displayed along with the music and the chant that is there. So one can meditate open eyes so that you can also look at the paintings and maybe, I don't know, let them go in. Because these paintings are also under mother's supervision, all of them. So they must have something very deep. So we'll listen to Book 1 Canto 5, which we are doing now. And I'll just put it forward for all of us and we'll just have a silent time with that music and paintings.
न चक्षुषा पश्यति कश्चनैनं हृदा मनीषा मनसा विकल्पतो यानि तद्विदूर्मृतास्ते भवन्ति यदा पञ्चावतिष्ठन्ते ज्ञानानि मनसा सह उत्तिष्ठ न विचेष्टति तामाहु परमां गतिं यदा सर्वे प्रभिद्यन्ते हृदयस्य हरन्तः अथ मृत्युरमृतो
A large luster lit the mighty page. A purpose mingled with the whims of time. A meaning met the stumbling pace of chance, and fate revealed a chain of seeing will. A conscious wideness filled the old dumb space. In the void he saw throned the omniscience supreme.
न चक्षुषा पश्यति कश्चन हृदा मनीषा मनसा विकीर्तितो तद्विदुर्मृतास्ते भवन्ति तदा पञ्चावतिष्ठन्ते ज्ञानानि मनसा सह बुद्धिश्च न विचेष्टति कामाः परमां गतिम् यदा सर्वे प्रभिद्यन्ते हृदयस्येह ग्रन्थयः हतमृत्युरमृतो भवत्येतावाक्यं शासनम्.
As when a timeless eye annuls the hour, abolishing the agent and the act, so now his spirit shone out, wide, blank, pure. His wakened mind became an empty slate on which the universal and soul could hide.
I think we had read until this page, page number 79, until these lines. A golden influx flowed through heart and brain. A force came down into his mortal limbs, a current from eternal seas of bliss. He felt the invasion and the nameless joy. We'll take the reading forward. So, anyone who begins to read, we can take two or three colored bits and stop wherever we like.
Yeah, Monica, I'll read.
Okay, Sarvaji. After you, Jagan. Okay. Take it. Yes, please.
A golden influx flowed through heart and brain. A force came down into his mortal limbs, a current from eternal seas of bliss. He felt the invasion and the nameless joy. Aware of his occult omnipotent soul, allured by the omniscient ecstasy, a living center of the illimitable, widened to equate with the world's circumference. He turned to his immense spiritual fate. Abandoned on a canvas of tone air, a picture lost in far and fading streets. The earth nature's summit sank below his feet. He climbed to meet the infinite more above.
Thank
Monica,
you. Yeah,
or we
we'll pause here, Sardaji. Thank you. There are, this line is beautiful. A living center of the illimitable. Usually, whenever we use the word center, it is always like we know that we have a periphery around. And here it talks of a living center. It is a center, but there is no circumference. And it seems that I may be wrong, but it seems to me, so far understanding, that this is the reference to the Jivatman. And if we hear also Kirit Joshi, he comments at times. Here we have commentaries on Sri Aurobindo's words. There also we get a sense that Jivatman is the center, which cannot be called a center, and yet it is a center. Just a moment. Yeah. So I thought maybe it will be nice to take a few lines which reflect from Synthesis of Yoga this living center of the illimitable. So we can't say it's impersonal, and yet it's vast, connected to the infinite, and yet it is a person. Like, it's a center. So it's very interesting to notice this. So I'll just maybe I'll pull it up also from the PDF of Synthesis of Yoga, if we can. And we have read this in the release from the ego. So I'll just maybe pull it up so that it's easier for all of us to see. Yeah. Yes. So here, this one. That substance is the self of the man, called in European thought the monad, in Indian philosophy Jiva or Jivatman. Sri Aurobindo also calls this central being, and we have talked about this, that when we station our consciousness above, beyond the brain lodged consciousness, then we get in touch with this Jiva or Jivatman, the living entity, the self of the living creature. So this is the true self. This is not, when we say ego is a temporary individuality, so that's not the true one. Jiva or Jivatman, the living entity, the self of the living creature. This Jiva is not the mental ego sense constructed by the workings of nature for her temporary purpose. It is not a thing bound as the mental being, the vital, the physical are bound by her habits, laws, or processes. The Jiva is a spirit and self superior to nature. It is true that it consents to her acts, reflects her moods, and upholds the triple medium of mind, life, and body through which she casts them upon the soul's consciousness. But it is itself a living reflection or a soul form or a self creation of the spirit, universal and transcendent. So it's like, we were talking how Shraddhalu also reflects upon it, and he says, like, it's like, I can't remember if he used the word or maybe I devised it for myself, but it's like, it's like a personal pool that you have above, but that pool is not disconnected from the vastness, and yet there is a personality about that pool. So it's a pool, like there is ocean far above, or a sky, we can say, but there is this personal space. So the one spirit who has, no, I don't want to read everything. Yeah, this is what I think I wanted to share with all of us. And later it says here, the Jiva must release himself from the ego sense which belongs to the lower nature or Maya. This release has to happen. And that's why what we are reading right now is, earlier it was the yoga of soul's release from this bondage of the lower nature. And then now we are reading the yoga of spirit's greatness and freedom. So one is away from the clutches of the lower nature. And why we are going away from the clutches? So that we can get the higher light, and then the lower nature also can get transformed. But remaining in the lower nature, we can't get that light. So for the time being, that liberation from that sense is there. Yeah, so just this much I wanted to bring forward. So a living center of the illimitable. Let us all just maybe take a moment to feel it in ourselves. It would be nice. Just taking a moment, feeling all of us as individually as this living center of the illimitable. And then when he transcends, in his consciousness, he goes further and higher. The earth nature, the lower nature, that is, it feels like abandoned on a canvas of torn air, a picture lost in far and fading streaks. The earth nature's summits sank below his feet. He climbed to meet the infinite more above. If there are any questions or thoughts or anything, you can share. Else we will move ahead.
Yeah, the second last line, the earth nature's summits sank below his feet. Last to last time also there was this line, I obviously don't remember it, but it said that how, the absolute phenomenal beauty of nature is nothing in front of the bliss or something. Like, the most beautiful thing that you can see in nature could not hold a torch to his light. That is very, it's like, it's so strange that one gets so enamored by the natural beauty that it feels like, oh my God, wow. And when one hears, reads this line, the earth's nature summits, like the peak of whatever one can achieve, imagine, conquer, visualize, they sank below his feet. So again, associating with the I that I associate myself with, it's not even possible to imagine that there's something like that possible. But what you just shared, right, at a living center of the illimitable, then one can at least say, okay, yeah, must be. Otherwise, it's just like how, right? How can these things, which appear to be so dazzling and truly beautiful, that too means nothing? It's very expansive. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll maybe read a little bit further. So anyone with reading next, maybe you can take two colored bits. And you can take a pause again.
Yes, yes. Right. The immobile's ocean silence saw him pass, an arrow leaping through eternity, suddenly shot from the tense bow of time, a ray returning to its parent sun. Opponent of that glory of escape, the black inconscient swung its dragon tail, lashing a slumberous infinite by its force into the deep obscurities of form. Death lay beneath him like a gate of sleep. Thank you.
Yeah. This is beyond there are several realizations possible. And one can get stagnated at any particular one, but there is again furthermore, there is furthermore, there is furthermore. So here we see that the immobile's ocean silence saw him pass. So he crosses that absolute silence, which again itself is called a very big realization in itself. But he's not stopping there. He's not stopping itself there. Silence. And that's why mother says that if you want silence, then you go to some other masters and sadhus, or the teachers that have been there, because the purpose here in integral yoga is not just attaining that static Brahman or silence. So he crosses that like an arrow leaping through eternity, suddenly shot from the tense bow of time, a ray returning to its parent sun. So in the beginning, we read the symbol dawn. It's like a ray which has come from the parent sun and for doing some work. That's the feeling that we get, when we read the lines of the symbol dawn. Usha, Savitri, she comes in the dawn. And now the ray returning to its parent sun, opponent of that glory of escape. Now there is an opponent here. It's everything, it's not so easy. And who is the opponent? We see it in very many movies, like, or these books like Harry Potter, or these kind of books, that there is a dragon who is guarding that treasure, and he would just, whoever comes in, he would just lash its tail and not let him go that easily. So whenever there is an aspiration to go further, or there is a walk towards higher streams of consciousness, we see that always there is a pull, from below. We see this also very trivially also in our day to day. For example, when we try to concentrate, when we try to meditate, how long can we meditate? How long can we concentrate? Something pulls us down. Enough. That something says enough. बहुत हो गया, आज के लिए इतना बहुत है. So either the body will begin to cry, oh हिलो अब बहुत थोड़ा सा, काफी देर बैठ लिए, or something or the other. The concentration will want to distract itself, want to be scattered again. So this in ancient scriptures, it is said that the dragon, a black dragon, is as if guarding that inconscient. It's keeping it safe. The black inconscient swung its draggled trail, lashing a slumbrous infinite by its force into the deep obscurities of form. But he is not stopping just because of that. Death lay beneath him like a gate of sleep. So from that height where he is now, he looked at death, and it revealed to him that it is nothing more than a gate of sleep. So there is a revelation from that height. So anything more here we can take, otherwise we go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. When you explained the black inconscient swung its dragon tail. So the glory of escape. So I'm just confused that is this dragon um, between the higher and the lower, protecting the lower or protecting the higher?
Yeah, one can see it as protecting the lower,
Okay.
keeping it
Okay.
safe, that it remains the lower.
Hmm.
One can see it like that. But again, as we all know, that to read Savitri, the moment we begin to use our analytical, logical mind, we are just lost it. We are lost. We are losing it. So that's why I at times I think I should stop these sessions, but something is going to, still pushing me ahead, that I think it's just a window for us to read it ourselves. है ना. तो एक बार हम डिस्कस कर लेते हैं सेशन में, इट इज लाइक एन इंस्पिरेशन दैट ओके मुझे खुद पढ़ना है. Behind that, besides that, there is no purpose, and don't take my explanations too seriously. They are just like whatever understanding is there, one whatever comes to my mouth I share, but there is always one can know that there is always more uh, depth to it and height to it, and that's why mother says that always read it yourself. Somebody actually asked mother, um, because mother said that whenever like reading Sri Aurobindo, she said that don't listen to anyone who comments on Sri Aurobindo, something like that she said to some sadhak. But then somebody came to the mother and he asked that, mother, you said this and I think I'm making this stupidity for a long time, because he must be commenting on Sri Aurobindo's words, taking classes and sessions. So mother said, and he said that should I continue this or should I just want to stop, maybe I should stop. And mother said that don't stop. The only purpose being that if it serves as a window for people who are sitting on the threshold, that okay, a window into Sri Aurobindo, and that's it. Then it's your personal connect with Sri Aurobindo and Savitri and anything further. That's it. It has served its purpose. Right? So we have to understand that whatever I say, it's nothing in front of what you will have when you sit with these lines in your own silences. And you read it now and then you read it after 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, always you will have something new, something more, according to the phases in which we are progressing. That is more precious than, for example, what I am sharing here. It has its own limitations. So yeah, I'm aware of that. Still not stopping the sessions. Yeah. So we'll maybe take a little bit further. Yeah, anyone who wants to read can read maybe three colored bits.
One pointedness to the immaculate delight, questing for God as for a splendid prey. He mounted burning like a corn of fire, to a few is given that godlike rare release. One among many thousands never touched, engrossed in the external world's design, is chosen by a secret witness eye and driven by a pointing hand of light. Across his soul's unmapped immensitudes, a pilgrim of everlasting truth, our measures cannot hold his measureless mind. He has turned from the voices of the narrow realm and left the little lane of human time.
So very revelatory lines. I think for all of us, some of them come straight to our face. We get distracted, time to time we are distracted. One pointed to the immaculate delight. आधा नहीं चाहिए. Who was asking for पूर्ण स्वराज? Sri Aurobindo. कि आधा नहीं चाहिए. That's the quality. हमको क्योंकि आधे से सेटिस्फेक्शन हो जाती है लाइफ में, तो ठीक है, ऐसा लगता है ओके, जब तक आधे से सेटिस्फाई हो रहे हो तो हो. Even in our day-to-day lives, we become too satisfied with living a mediocre life. Too satisfied. And it's only, we can only propel ourselves further when we are not satisfied with that mediocre life. अब आधे से नहीं बनेगा. So one pointed to the immaculate delight, क्वेस्टिंग फॉर गॉड एज फॉर अ स्प्लेंडेड प्रे, क्योंकि ये कुछ ऐसा मिला, a praise on which a predator jumps, ये कुछ ऐसा मिला, स्प्लेंडेड प्रे, कि इसको नहीं छोड़ना. He mounted, and if we saw, there was a picture actually by Hutadi, there was a painting of a cone of a fire, if you have seen, है ना? He mounted burning like a cone of fire. To a few is given that God-like rare release. Why to a few? क्योंकि बाकियों को तो चाहिए ही नहीं. बाकी खुश हैं अपने गोलगप्पे खाकर और एक दो शादियों में जाकर. थोड़ी बहुत फ्रीडम मिल जाती है घर से तो बड़े खुश हो जाते हैं. हाँ देखो, आई गॉट दिस मच ऑफ फ्रीडम, पीपल लेट माई फैमिली अलाउ दिस मच ऑफ फ्रीडम, ओ सो ग्रेटफुल आई एम. तो उससे खुश हो जाते हैं. तो ओनली अ फ्यू, टू अ फ्यू इज गिवन दैट गॉड लाइक रेयर रिलीज, क्योंकि बाकियों को चाहिए नहीं होता है, कॉन्शियसली नहीं चाहिए होता है. अनकॉन्शियसली हम सबको चाहिए, अनकॉन्शियसली सब उसके पीछे पड़े हैं, बट कॉन्शियसली rare, very rare. One among many thousands never touched. And where are they lost? Engrossed in the external world's design. यहाँ हमारे जो सेंस परसेप्शंस दिखाते हैं हमको, उसमें हम ओ कितना सुंदर, ओ ग्लिटरी, engrossed in the external world's design. And these, when these things are happening, they don't appear like, oh, I am attracted to the glitter. They don't appear like that. They appear very subtle, but you are glued to that. पीछे पड़ जाते हैं उन चीजों के, डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो जाते हैं, वन पॉइंटेडनेस चली जाती है. Engrossed in the external world's design is chosen by a secret witness eye. जैसे कहते हैं ना कि when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. Why? Because the teacher always has been looking who is ready. Always there is a secret witness eye. पात्रता कहते हैं हिंदी में ना इसको. Now that person, that one is chosen by a secret witness eye and driven by a pointing hand of light. कि यहाँ जाना है, यहाँ जाना है, यहाँ. Unfolding of truth. How Sri Aurobindo was driven. It's his own experiences. And then after some time, he actually, after Alipur experience, he stopped questioning, है ना? We see that how he, अच्छा चंदननगर, okay, going to चंदननगर. अच्छा पौंडीचेरी, going to पौंडीचेरी. कोई कुछ नहीं है हाथ में कि अच्छा मेरा सामान तो ले लूं जरा, कमरे में जो पड़ा हुआ है वो सामान तो उठा लूं. कोई, no question of that. Just pinpointedly listening to that pointing hand of light, and driven by a pointing hand of light across his soul's unmapped immensitudes. This journey that we have to do, this unfolding of truth, one is taken forward. When one becomes a patra, then one is taken forward. तो हमारा काम है पात्रता तैयार करना, बाकी काम देखा जाएगा. Yeah. A pilgrim of the everlasting truth, not a truth which ends, right? We see here a truth, a revelation, like Sri Aurobindo says, a light after greater light and a revelation after revelation. So there is no stopping. A pilgrim of the everlasting truth. And Sri Aurobindo, he talks about his own commentary on the Gita. And he says that right now this feels enough. And there would come a time then there was something more be required. Always there are things required which are for that kind of atmosphere, that kind of consciousness. Very, very, very well aware of that progression. So a pilgrim of the everlasting truth. Not saying that, oh, this is the final world. word that I am giving in Gita. Our measures cannot hold his measureless mind. He has turned from the voices of the narrow realm in which we live, the ordinary consciousness. अब उसको कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है उसमें. He has turned from the voices of the narrow realm and left the little lane of human time. सोचो पूरे human time को क्या कहा जा रहा है? A little lane. That's what we keep ourselves busy with, while something else lies unattended. Yeah. So anything here? Anyone?
I was just really touched with this line, across his soul's unmapped immensitudes. Just like when, of course, when you're consciously trying to like yesterday there was a discussion, Ritu was talking that for all of us, I think one of the aim is to improve oneself, right? To become better. Perfection, as mother says, ever going perfection. And like for me it happens that okay, I'm trying to do and I would feel happy, okay, at least you see your growth little bit, and then there comes a time when you just drop and you drop quite significantly. And I get really discouraged, and like today happened, something happened, and I was feeling very happy for a few days, few months actually. Very good, very good. Like ego sometimes says. And today something happened and I was again very sad in that sense. And like I was saying, mother, like even these small things, I'm trying, still not happening, still not happening. I genuinely tried, I sincerely tried, still didn't happen. and there was this just, but the good thing is the intensity actually goes slowly. That intensity of even regret or dwelling in it goes away. So there was actually, I was so feeling, it's again, you see so many miracles actually every day when you see consciously. And actually I felt that somebody is actually saying this line to me, that his soul's unmapped immensitudes, like somebody really telling me that, that there is unmapped immensitudes in all of us actually. And this is what it is, all these experiences come for, to really unmap that, to really map it on your soul, because they are unmapped. And if somebody maps it, of course the carving will be painful, but that is, and that unmapping is really done to bring out that immensity that all of us have. So that line was really, spoke to me a lot, that even challenges, if we can remember that we all have our souls have this unmapped immensitudes. So yeah, that line was really nice.
Yes. Mother says that the more we take the side of the truth, the crises are there, but they are there for a shorter duration, because you are not defending anything which is lower, right? So the crisis may be there, which, of course, as mother says, the process is long and slow even for the best. So, but she says that as we begin to take the side of truth, just paraphrasing, he says the crisis become of shorter duration. There is no one who is giving the fuel and defending the wrong in us. Another line which is very similar to this one: he has turned from the voices of the narrow realm and left the little lane of human time. There is another line which I am remembering, which comes indifferent to the little outpost mind. It's quite similar. Another one which is there is In distance sank the crowded tramp of life. So all these lines are quite sister-like. बहनें लग रही हैं. Yeah.
That one also you shared, na? Very nice, that statement, me listening to the higher command,
Yeah.
time, space, they're very similar. Time,
Yes, yes,
space was just, yeah.
yes. Obedient she sat to the high command. Time, life, death were passing incidents. Yes. Okay, so if there is not anything more here, we will read maybe 3 more colored bits again. So anyone who feels, I think Dr. Anjali wanted to read. Anjali ji? Yeah.
Yes. In the hushed precincts of a vaster plan, he treads the vestibules of the unseen, or listens following a bodiless guide to a lonely cry in boundless vacancy. All the deep cosmic murmur falling still, he lives in the hush before the word was born, his soul left naked to the timeless one. Far from compulsion of created things, thought and its shadowy idols disappear. The molds of form and person are undone. The ineffable whiteness knows him for its own. A lone forerunner of the God.
We'll
Should I
stop.
stop here?
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll pause
yeah.
here. Thank you.
The hushed precincts of the past.
So when we hear Shraddhavan's English, English of Savitri, we see the meaning of these words explained. Precincts, for example. And she says that, for example, there is a temple and you enter the temple compound and there is a big campus, right? So first the deity is long within, far within, but there is the campus. So that is what we call precincts, the initial area that you enter. So in the hushed precincts of a vaster plan, he treads the vestibules of the unseen. Again, vestibule is a word which is related to, for example, what she shared was can be related to you have a house and before you in usually in I think western homes we have something like that there is a narrow lane where you leave your jackets off and boots off and then you enter the main area, the house. So that's vestibule. And in, for example, in Indian trains, earlier there used to be a vestibule connecting the two coaches, वो जो हिलता रहता था left right, if you remember. So it's like a passageway to the main room. So he treads the vestibules of the unseen. अभी unseen तक पहुंचे नहीं है. It's like the vestibules. उसके the campus, he has entered the campus. So good to know these words.
Right.
Or listens following a bodiless guide to a lonely cry in boundless vacancy. Like there is nothing that you can see, boundless, far, you can see nothing. And then you hear a cry, and that guides you. Or listens following a bodiless guide to a lonely cry in boundless vacancy, all the deep cosmic murmur falling still. Now this cosmic murmur word again is very interesting also, and what they say is that when you go further and further, higher and deeper in your consciousness, as if you hear something, and it's like a a constant buzz that is going on, which they call as cosmic murmur. And Shraddhavan was sharing that her mentor, K.D. Setna Amal Kiran, who used to correspond with Sri Aurobindo regarding Savitri, uh, he told her that he had heard this murmur, but that there is something beyond the murmur. So if we reach there, here, all the deep cosmic murmur falling still, further beyond that, further beyond that, lives in the hush before the world was born. His soul left naked to the timeless one, far from compulsion of created. So this is where we are entangled most of the times because of the sense mind, far from compulsion of created things. But he is far away from that, far from and we feel compelled कि अरे वो बुला रहा था मैं कैसे नहीं जाती. इतना प्रेशर डाला मेरे ऊपर. This is what we say, no?
Monica, what is the meaning? His soul left naked to the timeless one. My soul left naked.
There is no robe. Usually we are covering, we have many coverings with which we are shelled and protected. And we are not able to have a teat-a-teat with the eternal one. है ना, क्योंकि इतनी layers अज्ञानता की अपने ऊपर चढ़ा रखी हैं.
Right.
जो सारी अज्ञानता की layers हैं, they are left behind now. So the soul is naked. It is free of those layers and layers of ignorance.
Okay. Thank you.
The soul left naked to the timeless one, far from compulsion of created. He is far away. He is not feeling compelled by those created things. जो हमारा रहता है कि अरे इसका टाइम था, मैं क्या करती, कैसे आती, है ना. बहुत, अगर हम देखें, हमारा जीवन भरा पड़ा है इन चीजों से. इतना प्रेशर डाला दोस्तों ने, रिलेटिव्स ने, मम्मी ने बोला शादी कर ले, शादी कर ले. अब मैं क्या करती, मम्मी को खुश करने के लिए कर ली. फिर किसी ने बोला बच्चा कर ले तो कर लिया. नहीं करते हैं. आवर लाइफ इज फुल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. शादी में बुला रहे थे, वैसे तो मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता, लेकिन मैं चली गई.
नहीं जाते तो बुरा लगता.
Exactly. So this is the compulsion, that we feel. But he is far away from that compulsion. Far from compulsion of created things, thought and its shadowy idols disappear. For us, thought has such a strong meaning. How rigidly we buy to our thoughts and its meanings. The molds of form and person are undone. Mold is like, if you are कुल्फी बनाते हैं तो उसको एक मोल्ड में डालते हैं ना. So that temporary mold that we get from nature, in which we feel so suffocated at times also, that is undone. There is a liberation. That's what we are reading. Spirit's freedom and greatness. The molds of form and person are undone. So you are not identified with that form. हमारा तो पूरा जीवन उस आइडेंटिफिकेशन में निकल जाता है, और उसी को टेंड करने में, रोटी कपड़ा और मकान, किस चीजों को टेंड कर रहा है, फॉर्म को, राइट. The molds of form and person are undone. The ineffable wideness knows him for its own. तो अब जो एटर्नल से वो टीट हो रहा है, रॉन्डवू, अब वो कहती है हाँ ये मेरा बच्चा आया, नंगा आया है, राइट. The ineffable wideness knows him for its own. I think I can also relate this with maybe I'm relating it. I don't know if it's relatable or not, but just in one sense, how in Mahabharata we have the example when Gandhari says before the war, he says that Duryodhan, you come to me, and when you are coming to me, you don't wear anything on your body.
Come naked.
है ना, come naked before the war, and I'll give you such strength because of my tapasya, the ingathered She has not
Hmm.
seen anyone since ages, है ना? She's this patti on her eyes. So there is ingathered energy with her, the energy of tapas. And that she says that I will look at you and all that energy will go into you. Now Duryodhan,
Patta.
he meets Krishna on the way while he's going naked. And
अच्छा.
he won't, Krishna is, he is the ultimate play
हाँ.
master. So he
Hmm.
says that he ऐसे जाएगा क्या?
हाँ.
इतना बड़ा हो
Right,
गया
right.
मम्मी के पास ऐसे जाएगा नंगा?
हाँ.
कुछ तो छुपा ले. And it is his trick, so that some part of him is weak, and that is what will be used later.
Around the thighs.
Around the thighs, and that is what is used. So when Gandhari opens her eyes and all the energy, and then she is actually feeling, oh my God, what did you do? Why did you wear this patta or whatever he was wearing? Because they're gone, the moment is gone. Energy could not go penetrate there. And this is the exact place where he says Bhim. When
Bhim,
they are
ask
having
Bhim.
Mal
Yes.
Yudh, है ना, he made that
इसीलिए
इशारा
कृष्ण को
कि
कहा
यहाँ पे
जाता
करो,
है
यहाँ
कि
पे
उन्होंने
करो.
चीटिंग किया.
चीटिंग करी, या
हाँ, तो उन्होंने कहा धर्म के लिए तो मैं कुछ भी करूंगा.
बिल्कुल 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 बिल्कुल.
Right.
This example also just brought so much this thing in the heart, that how divine looks after us. How intricately divine actually looks. Like all these examples, now that you have said, it has actually come as a form that we feel how this will happen, that will happen. Not divine things, even we think 5 steps ahead, he will think 100 steps. That okay, when that will happen, what will be done? So this has to be done. But we are busy only for 5 steps. So what will I do? What will I do? But yeah, that's why I say that die will be done. It's the safest thing, ne? Alugda says. So that example is such a beautiful example of the divine protection that he's always trying to give to the people who are actually journeying. I remember I was speaking to my father, and sometimes we have this little bit discussion. Somebody in the family got distant family stroke for 2 days. He was unattended, and I was like, I was asking him, I was telling him that how is it that that he was unattended, the how come divine grace was not with him, because we always say that divine grace is partially with everybody. And he would say, no, divine does not intervene if you do not want to do, if you are asking for help, then he will come. I said, I don't really agree. We were actually reading something of Sri Aurobindo where he is actually talking about effort, human effort, and then aspiration and the downward this thing. So initial paragraph looks it gives a very dark picture of the divine, where the divine is just a witness who's just witnessing everything till the time you don't intervene. And and my father actually told he told me, no, it's really true. If you do not really aspire, if you're not really asking, well, he won't do anything. So in that sense, so I somehow didn't believe it in that sense. But yeah, in that sense, I agree that people who are with the side of the truth, like the Pandavas who actually chose Krishna is doing everything 100 times better in that sense to protect them. So the efficacy of saying thy will be done and not mine, these examples actually give us the certitude.
I think one of the things which comes here is also ये जो physical safety वाला aspect है ना, ये हमें बहुत मतलब मोस्टली अगर हम देखें हाउ वी कनेक्ट विद द डिवाइन इज कि अच्छा अगर मेरे फैमिली और मेरे को बचा लिया इसका मतलब बढ़िया डिवाइन, और नहीं बचाया फिर हम वी बिगिन टू हैव डाउट्स कि क्यों नहीं बचाया, है ना. While in Savitri, Sri Aurobindo says there is a meaning in each whim of time, है ना, एक एक चीज जो ऐसा लगती है कि ये why, and just like that ऐसा लगता है frivolous है ना, ऐसा लगता है frivolous है, ये गलती से हुआ क्या है ना, कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है गलती से हुआ क्या, but there is a meaning in each happening and we don't know. तब जाके सिर झुकता है ना, जब इन चीजों पे विश्वास होता है कि हाँ यार ट्रू, आई एक्चुअली डोंट नो क्यों आपने वो चॉइस करी और क्यों आपके दिमाग में वो थॉट आई. फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम it happens like that, but there comes a time when it becomes a conscious collaboration. But for a long time it's like whims and chances, but again we can't say it's a chance. मतलब that's what again सावित्री में यही आता है कि वो जो that which seems like chance is not really chance. हाँ. और आप देखो कि it gives us so much of delight also at times. You meet somebody है ना, after many years you recollect, oh we met by chance है ना. So for the sake of that spirit of adventure, क्योंकि अगर पहले से ही सब कुछ पता है, अगर ये होना है ना, तो कुछ उसमें एडवेंचरस नहीं है. But then we see, oh this happened by chance है ना. And why do we use the word chance? क्योंकि हमको उसका order नहीं पता. That order is revealed to someone else. He knows. तो उसके लिए वो चांस नहीं है, बट मेरे लिए, क्योंकि मेरी खिड़की बस इतनी देख रही है, तो मेरे लिए वो चांस है कि अरे ये कैसे आ गया सामने.
I just had a question. It's not related to this, but something you said to our yesterday's class about integral healing. Just because I have it, I'll ask it for everybody. Like I think I've raised this doubt, but it's still not gone. Something still doesn't really understand it. Is that like Mother says very clearly, integral healing. Like I'm reading this as well. So many places she has said that that illness is a manifestation of a disorder which is there. But and and if illness comes, it's an approach that you have to see. You have to really look consciously and see what's the reason. And with the collaboration with the divine, it can be cured, healed, not cured, but yeah. But I wanted to ask. I was reading the book Champa Class Speaks, and about. I was inquisitive about Champa Claji, and I just started reading about him in general, and I was reading about his end towards the end, and there was a long, prolonged suffering he had, especially the stroke that he had suddenly, and the treatment he went to and all that. And I had this question about something that there's always a reason. You said it, and on that note as well, I wanted to ask that on one hand, we, like, for example, I also aspire that that even before doing any physical exercise or even in the morning, like I'll just say, Mother, that I really want to look after my body. I would not like illness. Like I would like to live a life where illness is not welcomed, so that I just say it in the in the morning or whenever I remember. But then I had this doubt that there is an example, perfect example, where there is no doubt that there was no divine collaboration. We say Champaklaji is an incarnation of Hanuman. And yet there was an illness, a prolonged illness. Of course, now again, you might say we will not understand the reason, but I somehow, it's very hard for me to understand that on one hand, we say that illness is actually a manifestation of a disharmony or something which has gone wrong, and that is why it has come. And if we can actually say we can really do, if we want, that illness cannot be welcomed, or even death for that matter as well is a bad habit of the self, Mother said. And then there is an example, people who have read, there's no doubt that the collaboration has not happened, and yet still there is an illness. So how I've just had this this thought. Anybody would like to share?
You can also ask this question by Mother. For example, if you look at the Mother's a little bit of clips and videos, and towards the end, 1970s, 71, 72, we can ask these similar questions there. We can say, oh, she is the Divine Mother. How is she in such a state? You have a mother's picture on a wheelchair. अब कैसे आप उसको अपने माइंड में उसको कनेक्ट करोगे डॉट्स? एक तरफ से तुम बोलोगे कि एक तरफ से आप कह रहे हो कि ओ दिस इज द डिवाइन मदर, है ना, शी हैज द माइंड ऑफ लाइट, शी इज वर्किंग इन द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ सेलुलर कॉन्शियसनेस, और ऊपर ये देख रहे हो, है ना। तो काम काम जो है वो बहुत डिफिकल्ट काम है। ये जो मैटर वाला काम है ये इतना डिफिकल्ट काम है, इतना डिफिकल्ट काम है, एंड दैट इज वाई मतलब यहाँ पे अभी पहुंचना हमारे लिए, मुझे लगता है कि वहां जाना थॉट के लिए बस वो कंफ्यूजिंग और एंटेंगलिंग है, वहां का हम कुछ समझ नहीं पाएंगे। And the other thing is that we have not lived just this life, na? We have lived many, many lives. There are karmas like prarabdha karma, sanchit karma, suna hoga apne naam.
Right.
And how do we know what was the inner state of Champak Lalji while he was going through all these things? Who would talk about that? People say that he had a golden glow. है ना, उसको भी हम बोल सकते हैं, look, body is not rotting, there is a golden glow. तो किसको
So
कौन सी
that matter,
quality है?
their inner state is exceptional for all of that. Like people have seen, even Ramdas for that matter. Such an you see, like for him, when towards the end, the Ramdas that you see on the wheelchair and the work that he has done is phenomenal. So that is very true. That sadhana doesn't go. The body is, but still, yeah, exactly. You said it's very difficult because it's
Spirit
conscious.
grows mightier by each fall and defeat. We have this line in Savitri. ना, तो अभी ये काम होना ज्यादा जरूरी है. Spirit growing mightier by each fall, each defeat. कह सकते हैं उसको, है तो defeat ही ना. And then there is, people say there is Mahavatar Babaji who is immortal. There is Sage Markandeya who is immortal. We have not seen, but they say that they are immortal. है ना. तो ये ऐसी चीजें हैं, ये ऐसे डोमेन्स हैं जहां हम जाते हैं, बात कर सकते हैं, डिस्कशन कर सकते हैं, मे गिव अस सम इंस्पिरेशन, बट एंटेंगल और कंफ्यूज होके ही बाहर लौटेंगे, ज्यादा चांसेस उसके हैं. तो अभी उससे बेटर मुद्दा ये है कि अभी जो हो सकता है वो कर लो. इसलिए हम फिर बार बार यहाँ पे आ जाते हैं कि अभी क्या कर रहे हो, आज का दिन कहाँ कट रहा है, क्यों वो हमारे हाथ में है ना. बट दीज थिंग्स आर, इट्स गुड टू रीड, आई थिंक, expose ourselves to these things to know that there is something that I don't know. Someday I will know, है ना. So it inspires us, it makes us, our aspiration grow further. क्योंकि अगर ऐसा लगे कि अरे सब कुछ तो समझ आ रहा है, तो फिर कोई एस्पिरेशन नहीं है ना. जब ऐसा लगता है कि देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स व्हिच आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड, सो द एस्पिरेशन इज देयर. कभी आएगा समझ में, है ना, एक दिन आएगा ऐसा जब समझ आएगा. So for inspiration purposes, these things are really beautiful.
One point which came into my mind when Nandini asked, even this is the question of matter. Even Sri Aurobindo, who had this sadhana and supramental ko niche lekar aaye, sab kuch kiya, but still to leave this body, there has to be some cause. बॉडी का जो ऑर्गन का फेलियर है या डिजीज के नाम पे वहां पर कुछ तो वो रीजन देना था, जहाँ पे डॉक्टर्स उन्होंने समझा कि ये मतलब डेलिबरेटली ये जो सिम्टम्स हैं जाने के आ रहे हैं. तो वो बॉडी के साथ एक तो ये, दूसरा रामकृष्ण परमहंस, उनका भी हमारे सामने है कि वो सारे लोग, अब उसमें बहुत सारी थ्योरीज आती हैं कि इवन उनको कैंसर जब हुआ था तो बहुत सारे लोग जब छूते थे, उनके पैर छूते थे, आकर वो अपना दे जाते थे, क्या करते थे. दीज आर द क्वेश्चन, आई थिंक, एज यू सेड कि वी हैव टू, डेथ के बाद क्या होता है, ये क्वेश्चन ऐसा है जो बहुत, इसकी क्यूरियोसिटी बहुत रहती है, लेकिन यू डोंट गेट आंसर, और लगता है एक समय के बाद कि इसकी जरूरत नहीं, जो अभी है उसको देखो, उसके बाद क्या होगा वो देखा जाए.
Jetsunma shares something very interesting here, which is very inspirational. She shares that if we right now practice, and by practice is uniting with our true consciousness. So it's very nice then to look at death as another adventure. कि अच्छा अब देखते हैं अब क्या होने वाला है. Because अगर मैं अभी की प्रैक्टिस नहीं करूंगी, विच इज इफ राइट नाउ आई एम टोटली आइडेंटिफाइड विद द बॉडी कॉन्शियसनेस एंड नो माई सेल्फ एज द बॉडी एंड नथिंग एल्स, as the thought, as the feeling. So what people say is that when we die, it's like a shock. And in that shock, one kind of faints. And आप सोचो कि आप ट्रैवल कर रहे हो, आप द ब्यूटीफुल सीनरीज लेफ्ट एंड राइट, सम यूरोपियन और इंडियन ब्यूटीफुल डेस्टिनेशन सीनिक, एंड यू आर फेंटेड. यू आर इन अ ट्रेन एंड यू आर फेंटेड, और लेफ्ट और राइट आपके बहुत सुंदर दृश्य चल रहे हैं, बट यू आर नॉट देयर. क्या फायदा ऐसी जर्नी का? सो यूजुअली इन अवर ऑर्डिनरी कॉन्शियसनेस, जब हम प्रैक्टिस नहीं करते हैं, दिस इज अवर स्टेट दैट वी लूज कॉन्शियसनेस एक्चुअली फॉर अ वाइल. वी आर नॉट कॉन्शियसली गोइंग थ्रू दोज things that we can go through consciously. And she says that she referring to herself, she says I become excited that okay, or Dalai Lama for example, कि देखते हैं अब क्या होता है, now that I am leaving the body. अब ये किसके लिए एडवेंचर हो सकता है? The one who is working right now to unite with the true consciousness that I am more than this body. So I leave the body and then I go further.
Right.
है ना? तो अगर हम उस अभी फियर से ही नहीं निकले हैं कि वो आई एम दिस बॉडी, आई हैव टू प्रोटेक्टेड, एंड मेरे बॉडी के साथ वाले और पीछे वाले और आगे वाले, अगर उससे ही नहीं अभी हमारा छुटकारा हुआ है, तो फिर आगे क्या होगा?
Raman Maharshi also experimented this thing, na, when he got it fever, and then he enacted the whole thing, and he visualized that he is now dead, and उनको जला दिया गया, ये कर दिया गया, ये कर दिया गया, और तब उनको लगता है कि तो फिर ये जल गया तो वो कौन था जो था, और वहीं से उनकी फिर वो जर्नी स्टार्ट हुई. It's good. Instead of fearing death, we should visualize this, connecting.
That's why mother says that to find the psychic is so important. And she says that identify with that consciousness which is always like a witness to your happenings of life. Call that as myself.
There was one question in between our discussion I wanted to ask at that time. So, Jivatman and psychic being, these are two different things. Jivatman is a universal this thing, and psychic being is the
So Sri Aurobindo says that the psychic being is involved in evolution. वो evolution का part है, वो experiences assimilate कर रहा है, it's participating in evolution. And that is why it grows through experiences. When there are deeper, richer experiences, events which are very deep, touching, they change the course of your life, for example. With deeper events, it assimilates, and through that, it grows in stature. Say that the Jivatman is not involved in evolution. It is not it is like above
right
evolution. तो उसमें वो उसके हाथ डिप्ड नहीं है, जैसे कलर है नीचे तो कलर में हाथ डिप्ड है, नहीं. it is looking, it is seated above, but it allows, जो अभी हम पढ़ रहे थे synthesis of yoga में, that it allows the bondage of the lower nature on itself, and that is what one has to get liberated from. कि ओ ठा ठा ठा, जैसे नेति नेति करते हैं ना, तो नेति नेति करते हैं, अच्छा ये चेन मैं नहीं, ये चेन मैं नहीं, ये चेन मैं नहीं, तो मैं क्या, है ना? तो वो चेन हटानी पड़ती है, क्योंकि it is allowed, the sanction has been given for the bondage to happen for the sake of experiences.
Okay.
So it is seated above, and that's why it is in direct touch with the transcendent, the source, the parent source. And psychic is involved, like it is in the evolution. That's what they say.
Ashtakamal.
Ashtakamal kya?
Ashtakamal seated in our heart.
Ashtakamal, I don't know. हाँ, हो सकता है. हाँ.
कबीर दास जी का है ना, अष्टकमल का चरखा बनाया.
हाँ हाँ.
5 तत्व की पूर्णी. Ashtakamal means 8 class, just center of our heart.
I think Ashtakamal is referring to the 8 centers that we have. It may be referring to that.
The heart chakra is, the psychic being is behind the heart chakra.
mother says it's fourth dimension.
अच्छा, fourth dimension.
ऐसी
हाँ.
चीजें हैं ये. तो मदर मतलब जैसे श्री अरबिंदो, I think Dr. Basu we had shared this, है ना? Dr. Basu
Yeah.
talks about that going further, deeper
Right.
behind. And I have seen that if you go deeper behind horizontal depths of your center, not the heart organ wala heart, physical organ wala heart, center of your heart, center of
Yes.
your chest, if you go deeper into that towards your spine, पीछे की तरफ अगर आप जाते रहो deeper, that's what mother says, that the fourth dimension there we touch. I think it's very intimate personal experience है ना इन चीजों का खुद ही अपना.
No, but it helps. It
Yeah.
helps because when you concentrate, first you have to understand which center is comfortable
That's
in
true.
which center,
That's true.
in heart or in mind. And sometimes I found that sometimes I'm comfortable in, mostly I'm comfortable in heart center. But sometimes when the vital disturbance is more, than if you focus above the head, then it is easier.
Yeah, I think वही है जो whatever comes to us,
हाँ,
है ना?
सबका अपना
हाँ,
personal
बिल्कुल,
होता है.
बिल्कुल. But specifically in mother's yoga and integral yoga, it has been said that it is good first, safe and good, and it comes easy to most of us to center ourselves in the heart center.
In the heart center.
In the depths of our heart. Depths. And mother at times has also called it solar plexus.
अच्छा.
हाँ, mother has used the word solar plexus, but अगर हम यहाँ से शुरू करें, center, you go deeper, horizontal depths में if you travel deeper, so then we have that experience, touching the fourth dimension of the psyche. It's a tangible feeling, one experiences it.
Thank you, Monica.
Two feelings, two things, a silence overhead, inner voice, a living image seated in the heart. There are these two lines in Savitri. Silence overhead, comma, inner voice. And then in the second line he says, a living image seated in the heart. So these are very good pointers for our concentration. We can keep exchanging in parallel, somewhere here, somewhere there. Sometimes above, sometimes deeper. It helps. And then the ultimate is, of course, that to carry that consciousness while we are doing activities of our day-to-day life. ये नहीं कि सिर्फ meditation में ध्यान मग्न है, otherwise बिल्कुल बेकार हाल है. So to carry that meditativeness, meditative poise, if one can say, while we are speaking, while we are acting, while we are thinking, while we are feeling,
while we are brushing our teeth,
बिल्कुल, yeah, day to day acting.
नहाते समय हम लोग जब कहते हैं ना हर हर, तो वो फीलिंग होती है, तो you can connect with that consciousness. Or
so I think we should stop here today. This is page number 80. So we will start from next time, a lone forerunner of the Godward earth. From here we will start. Yeah, any last comments, anyone? Okay, so we'll take a moment of silence. Okay. Just sharing, dedicating all the merit with all sentient beings, near and far. May we all have the fulfillment and progress and joy in our lives. Okay.